Hey everybody, welcome to Aaron's Pool Parlor here on our new YouTube channel. Please like and comment and subscribe to our new page. What we're getting ready to show you is a great match that took place at Hard Times Billiards in Sacramento, California on February 6th. We hope you enjoy, and thank you again for being a part of this.
Can I change my prediction?
No, pal, I want to see that breakfast up.
I have to write this down. 8.5, right? The over-under is 8.5.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I actually just alluded to about me playing games. The last big one I played was against Oscar, and his safety play, he never really gave me an inch. I always felt like he had a safety shot. I was always bang under pressure, and be interesting.
It's a dry break to start out with. It looks like the wine combination is on, and I think he should be able to hold his cue ball pretty easily for a position on the one afterwards.
Yeah, Nate, this is a shot that I always used to butcher these combinations.
I think we heard, was that Reed background?
It was Colby. We're going to sign off here and let you guys get your commentating glory. Thanks for having us. Enjoy the show, and thanks for everything.
Absolutely. Salotto
Cheers,
out.
guys.
Yeah, thanks guys. Enjoy. We'll be watching.
Cheers, Jerky. Have fun.
I missed your jerky too, Carl.
So they see Fedor probably regarded in one of the top 3 jump players in the world. He just proved it playing a jump combo first shot of the match.
A little bit tricky. I think you probably took the safety off from here. You kind of banged the one ball onto the second time and you ball table underneath the 2-10 setting. Oh, he took the bang on. It's I wouldn't say he's safe, but he didn't leave off a surefire opportunity out of this.
Yeah, my interpretation of Oscar Dominguez is a very, very wise pool player. He doesn't take any big sun. He always plays the percentage game. And, as I was saying, I've played a best of 3 sets race to 25. I think he was playing. I got to see a lot of his game, and as you see there, he played a wonderful safety shot. That's what he was doing to me.
Yeah, I think this is the safety that to be honest with you. Although it's the first game, he probably wanted to get his arm loose. Again, he gets a little bit fortunate. It looks like maybe the one ball goes to the side. It's a little tough to tell. But I'll tell you what, if it does go to the side, I think he just sold out the rack, because I think he's able to get onto the 2 ball pretty comfortably. And he is. So where's the trouble here?
I think this is a key shot. I'd say it's the most difficult shot, but put yourself a rack's never over. You've got a good positioning. But it's not a bad opportunity in the first rack for Oscar. This. He gets rid of this ball. As long as he gets good on the 4 ball, he's got a pretty good chance. This seems to be a key shot coming up.
A really good question out there that I think you would be perfect to answer the question for is, what is the Salotto app as a representative for that? I think so.
Yes, the Salotto app is a fast-growing app out there for pool players and pool fans. It's pretty new. Obviously, this was launched before the COVID nightmare that's took on around the world, so that's kind of holding things a little bit. But guys, if you've not got the app, please download that app. The guys at Salotto are doing monthly rankings. You can put your matches in. It's 5-goal rate, so it adds a little bit of pressure at home when you're playing your matches. And yeah, download the app and stay tuned for future things coming to that app. It's definitely a great thing for pool. And the guys who own it are brilliant guys, brilliant for pool. A bit like you said, you're not the worst person I've met in pool.
Well, that's the nicest I've ever said to anybody ever.
Yeah, guys, download the app. And there you see Oscar is about to take the first rack, and that is one rack for me well on my way to push-ups, Nate.
Yeah, my chest is already starting to burn. I ain't feeling great about it. Come on, fade it. All in good fun, of course. I like betting a good push-up. It's the most humiliating thing that you can do.
Especially you can't do.
Well, let's not talk about the facts. Let's just focus on pool.
Yeah, going back to the other match that you can see in the distance there, Christine, we'll try and get some updates on some things like that as the night goes on.
I never realized how short Christina actually is.
Yeah, she's a great player, and you know, she does a lot of travelling around, and she's that kind of young blood that the sport of pool needs. As we take a look at the second rack, Oscar to break. Very nice break, great cue ball control there. And great one ball as well, stayed over the pocket.
Looks pretty good again. I can ask the question again, where does it go wrong here?
Yeah, I mean it's a generous split. He was rewarded with a great break there, and because he got the cue ball in the centre of the table, that means you can shoot all around the table, and he's played a pretty good first shot there as well.
He doesn't have
Worst
one.
thing.
Well, does he have enough? I mean, he's really gonna have to pop this. It looks like to get up for the left side of the 4-ball here.
Yeah, I think he's just okay. I think this cloth will be a little bit dry, so you can manipulate the angle a bit more. That type of shot's a funny shot in like the Mosconi Cup arena, because the cue ball doesn't bite the rail the same, so it changes the angles. But you know, on a club table, you can force more angles.
This
And
is
I think
another shot.
Yeah,
He's gonna have to pop it again just to the left of the 10-ball now. No problem at all, though.
you sound like you're a begging man here, Nate. You're willing him not to run. I can tell.
Well, my chest is hurting as we speak.
Yeah, it's like this shot he's playing there. He can just play that with a little bit of right spin and miss the 10-ball easy, but on a brand new cloth, it can be a little bit funny, that type of shot.
Mike has a great comment. Bartender can break. That's a good comment. That's a good one right there.
Yeah, let's not forget this is Oscar's home pool room, so he's got to feel comfortable out there, and there's nothing like getting the first rack board and then trying to seal the deal with a break and running you next. And this is just letting Fedor know that, you know, Oscar's here to play.
So the over-under was 11.5, right? Is that what we decided?
7.5, I believe.
Oh, man. Tried to be picky there. It didn't work out well for me.
No, there you see, 2-0, and Nate, you touched on something before. You know, they're using a rack to rack the balls, and, you know, Oscar's many cash games over the years, so, you know, I'm sure Fedor's fine at racking the balls as well. I'm not saying he's not, but, you know, Oscar's certainly not going to stitch himself up on the rack. That's a given.
Yeah, well, I think that's a really interesting dynamic to this match. That if I'd have known they were using the wood rack, I think my prediction would have changed, because I think they're with the template rack, and you know that those wing balls are going into the side. If you, at least when you're breaking the balls like Fedor does, I mean, he knows he's making those wing balls probably 60% of the time, each one of them individually. So he's making them, you know, he's making one of them at least 80% time on the racks, and now you're going to the wood rack. That really adds a level of unknown tax that really can change the dynamic of the match. It takes away the break and run opportunities that Fedor will have.
So what you're saying is you've bet a 10 push-up challenge, not understanding what the game is.
That's exactly, yeah. When was the last time you saw this? I just assumed template. Stupid me, huh?
Yeah, obviously these type of games, it's an exhibition match. I don't think there's no right or wrong. And that's one thing that's probably gonna just halt Oscar a little bit, that type of long shot where, you've got to be cueing pretty good. And if you're not playing a lot and you're not confident, they're the type of shots that you will miss. So regarded as one of the best jump stick players around, you would think that was a hanger for Fedor, but he needed a little bit of luck, and I think he's just okay. That's not a bad leave.
Yeah, I think he's got a pretty good opportunity. I think he can wrap this 2 times and come up table. Shouldn't be an issue. I think, would you play the 4-ball to the top left here, or would you play it to the left middle?
Yeah, I think this is kind of left middle looks favourable just because it's easier to judge the speed, really. You can kind of hit it bad in some ways, but fair in a lot of pools, so there's no real right or wrong there, I don't feel. Now, Nate, I've not played pool in a long while, and I haven't played with a mask on. Have you played wearing one of these masks? Because I just feel like I couldn't get on with it, mate. I just feel like it'd put me off and feel very weird.
Oh, it actually makes me quite a bit better of a player, actually, I think. I haven't taken one off basically since March, and I think it actually makes me a better player. It stops that oxygen going from my brain, and it just allows me to just muscle memory things around the table. It's kind of nice. Man. Yikes, Fedor.
That was a bit of a strange one there from Fedor, and as you said, he's had a nice roll there.
He got away with it a little bit, although I think Oscar's he's a favorite to make this, I would say, but he's not a big favorite. If the 7-ball was off the rail an 1/8 of an inch or a 1/4 of an inch, Fedor could basically swipe balls, but with it looked like it was pretty close to frozen. That makes this kick shot quite a bit harder.
Yeah, and I think for that reason, he's going to play the kick shot. He's just going to try and get the 7-ball on this kind of side rail and just chip away. But he's playing the double hit, isn't he? He's still looking up, so he's still weighing things up.
The cue ball down table off the double kiss and trying to just keep it on that bottom rail. It's a genius shot. I wouldn't say it's the best case scenario for Oscar, but it's certainly not the worst case scenario either. He's leaving Oscar a real tester.
Yeah, not only is this a long finish pot, the 8 balls down bottom end of the table as well, so this is a tricky shot for the world champ.
If he's going to hit it with pace, he's going to have to run into the 9-ball. Or come all the way up and back. What a great shot. Oh. Wow, I didn't see that. Wow.
Yeah, it was a good pot, and you're always trusting to look a little bit. So a little bit unfortunate as well, but I think we'd have to chalk him as a bad shot.
Yeah, I think if he's later on in the match, he rolls that in with some with more speed control and tries to hold it before the 10-ball. But early on in the match, you want to get that arm swing in and you want to get loose, and maybe that cost him there a little.
Yeah, and he's 2-0 down. You kind of, you've not got to the best of starts, so looks a little bit edgy at the beginning of this match. Does Fedor?
just to give you guys an update on the table next to theirs, we have Skippy Nakonkas playing Christy Patch. They're racing to 9, playing 10 ball for $1,000, and they are currently tied 1 game apiece.
So, Aaron, let me ask you a question. Do they have a certain amount of sets that are locked in, or are they just playing until someone quits?
I haven't heard the answer to that yet. I'll try to get an answer soon for that.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, everybody out there, about 300 viewers. That is fantastic. Let us get there from everybody out there who's willing. Help us get up. Maybe we can get this up to 400 or 500 viewers. What do you guys think? Help us with the share.
Yeah, get sharing, folks. And don't forget the Salotto app.
If you don't download the Salotto app, Carl Boyce will show up at your house. And you don't want to hear about the things Carl does when he shows up to your house.
Yeah, and download it for you.
He steals your phone and goes through and hands it to your wife.
So Oscar breaks. Doesn't have an open shot at this 1 ball.
We're going to probably see a push out here. Where do you push? Where do you think you push out to, Carl?
Well, is he trying to tie the 2 up a little bit? That's what he tried, and
What
he hooked himself.
Yeah, what he did was give himself the shot back. So we've seen Fedor make 2 jump shots already. Let's see what Oscar's got for.
It's good with short stick, isn't he? So let's see what he's got here. He's just going to tine it the top side of the 1 ball, get distance. That will be the main aim. Yeah, and distance got, so that's worked out pretty well. It's a good shot there, Oscar.
Say the only real kicking lane he has is the 2 rail. It looks like maybe you can sneak in behind the 4 for the 3 rail. It's pretty risky at this point.
Yeah, at this stage, I think Fedor's just got to make the hit. 3 there, hasn't he? Because the scoreboard can start to run away from you a little bit.
Is he jumping this? Wow.
Yeah, he loves to jump.
Yeah, then he fouls. Yeah, I didn't like that.
By the way, the object ball that we're trying to jump there, not the easiest of shots, but maybe he just felt like he's not quite got the feel of the table yet to be kicking, and so the balls are all on again for Oscar. Ball, not saying it's tied up. There's the 10 balls there near the pocket, so you would think that's going to be the shot to 6. He's a little bit funky. I mean, the 6 is near the middle of the table, so he needs an angle on the 5 when he gets there.
I suppose the spec that I don't know the answer to is are early 10 balls allowed? Or is that
It's going to be a spot up. There's no early ones tonight.
no early 10s? Well then, what do you think about moving the 7 ball here? He comes in between the 6 and the 7, so.
I mean, the combination's pretty easy, and it's easy to control the 7 ball, so I think trying to move the 7 away there would be far more riskier than playing the combo.
Just, no, it's not pretty good. Should be able to get to about the 3rd diamond on that long run.
Yeah, look for this Oscar. He looks up for the challenge. He's not only playing pretty quick as well.
Just a little bit funny on this stuff. I'm not sure if that is. No, that it might cut, but he doesn't like his action cutting it, I think. That is
Yeah,
razor thin.
my stream is slightly lagging. Obviously, okay, so maybe that's not helping. But I thought maybe he could have played the 7 hill first to make the 10, and then run the cue ball through a little bit. Is this cuttable? Can he chop this 7 in? And he can't. The 35-year-old's eyes are not as good as they used to be.
But what he lacks in eyes, he makes up for in getting rolls so far. I think the only thing he's got available is the 2-rail safety, getting the ball in between the 2 chalks on the top long rail, 2 rails, and leaving the cue ball underneath the 10. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst option. Fedor's not going to be feeling too nice, though. He's not really had, in the first 3 racks, he's had much things go his way. He's missed a couple of balls, played a few bad jump shots. Yeah, he's left Oscar a shot here. It's long, it's thin, this is that type of shot. It's definitely easier when you're 3-0, that's for sure. Yeah, and he's not played that the best at all.
But that's probably the first mistake that Oscar's really made. And as far as mistakes go, I mean, this is certainly a shot that you would a 9-ball world champion to make. But this, after missing a couple of the shots he had, a couple of the safeties he had, I'm sure he's not having to come to this table.
Yeah, and this is a little funny one. Can he spin it in? Did he play the bank shot there? As I said, my stream is lagging, so sometimes I don't see the shots, see the result.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm with you. I think it's both of us, but
Okay. Try the bank on the 7.
not totally sure with you.
He was trying the bank, yes.
Of course, this is I think Fedor is going to be much more happy to walk into this shot. He's still a little bit close to the rail, and he's going to have to do something with it because the 9-ball's, well, I think if you get anywhere over on that right rail, basically above the 3rd diamond, I think it razor thin cuts to the left middle. So I think you probably just get it in between the 2nd and 3rd diamond on the right long rail. A little high outside stroke, you think? Game all the way back, but really nicely done.
Yeah, that was a tidy shot. Things started to get a little bit messy for players at 7, and I'm sure Fedor will be relieved to finally get his first rack on the board in this match.
How nervous are you now?
I'm not as nervous as Fedor by the looks of it, so it's still pretty good. Now we get to have a look at the Fedor Gorst break. So this is obviously the first one, and he lost the lag, and the score is 3-1.
And while we're waiting for Fedor to finish racking the balls, we can talk about, we actually are giving away, well, I shouldn't say we, Aaron Taylor with Aaron's Pool Parlor is going to be giving away some prizes for this. They're going to be giving away a signed brake pad that both players are actually going to be using for this event. You can see here on the giveaway details, these are all the things that are going to be given away. All of the ways that you can donate to the stream to try to win some of these items are in the pinned comment on Facebook. Lots of, we'll say, priceless items can be won here. Of course, it's not every day you come across somebody who has a signed Fedor and Oscar Dominguez piece of merchandise. So, piece of history here, I would say. Are you much of a... well, go ahead.
No, it's all right. Go ahead. I know you was going to ask me a question.
Yeah. Well, are you much into memorabilia? Are you like somebody who likes to collect signed things from your peers? Of course, it's different for you because you're actually amongst your peers, right? You're a respected member of them.
To be honest, Nate, that's a good question. I wouldn't say I'm like into a piece of cloth signed by Fedor or Oscar. However, I do like unique things. So in my pool room, in my games room where my table is, back in the day when you used to play in the Moscone Cup, the arena was made, and the Moscone Cup sign and the flags and balls. It was kind of like hard plastic acrylic that was like pinned to the arena. So as soon as the final ball was potted, it became a bit of a theme that we used to not only just jump over the arena to celebrate, but we was actually jumping over the arena to rip all this stuff off, right? and get signed and stuff. So if people have seen a few podcasts or interviews I've done over the previous 12 months, they might have seen certain things behind me, and that is actually the stuff from the arena. And I much prefer to keep that type of stuff as opposed to like a crappy trophy from a pool tournament, if you hear me.
Of course. So the question then becomes, of course, we'll get back to the match here in a second, but I got to ask one more question. You do. I know Jim Telfer's a great buddy of mine. He's my partner in crime out there in the pool world. You get a lot of course, as the vice captain of the Moscone Cup team now, you have played 3 years in it, right? Or is it 4? 3, 4.
4.
Like I said, you played twice. No, I'm just kidding. How much Moscone Cup memorabilia do you have, and how much do you give away? Because I know some of the signed balls that you've had gotten in the past, you have given away to some players.
Yeah, I've given quite a lot of stuff really, and when I'm there, I'm not really like thinking about getting this signed or that signed, and all the Moscone Cup tops I've raffled away, and every time I've done it, I've given the money to like a charity or something that might have happened near the time, and just donated it really. I know a lot of the pool players do raffles and pocket the money, but I'm not one of them, so I'm a bit unique in that sense. But the things I've got on my wall from the actual arena, what I just stuck on my wall, they'll stay just because it's kind of unique and just it kind of looks good in the pool room.
So then the last question I have before we get back to the match completely is, why haven't I gotten anything from you?
Because you just raffle it away, pal, and keep all the money.
No.
No, I mean,
I'm just totally kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the table there, and Fedor's landed on that horrible little 50-yard line where you think, just hit it a little bit harder out of the hanger, and I fully expect him to make that, but we've all missed them in our playing days for sure.
How many times do you think that you've had that shot right there in your career?
Probably not as many times as you feel like you've had it, but at the same time, I feel like I've had it a lot, if that makes sense. You always think, why didn't I just hit it a little bit harder? But of course, you feel like you're hitting it a little bit harder, but it always just seems to land there. And again, it's the type of shot where you kind of, I don't know, you wouldn't really practice that shot, because when you're practicing, you sort of don't land there, do you? You just land there in a match, don't you?
Yeah, only on Hill when it means the most, right?
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, we've said it's an exhibition match. This is not in in a world championship arena or anything like that, and there's not a huge crowd there sweating a big action match, so there's a little bit less pressure on that shot, of course. But yeah, it's one of them as well. When you miss it, you look a complete idiot, don't you, as well?
Oh, well, you look like you got my Fargo right. That's what you look like.
Yeah, but I like the way he played it. He just got down and, he played it with authority, which I feel like is always the best route.
So after quite a few mistakes by Fedor in the first 3 racks, we're seeing a little bit of cleaning up there. I believe that was a break and run. So maybe his break isn't going to be too bad.
No, I mean, having had Fedor on the team last year and been around him in the practice venue, and we were kind of messing around on the table, and you know, we were racking the balls, and sometimes we were playing a little bit of one pocket and things. He's got an old head on a young man's shoulders for sure. So, as I've said that, he's completely let me down with that break off though. Didn't rack him good and didn't hit him good at all.
Yeah, he didn't quite cut that rack, but it was you consider the cut break when your cue ball ends up below the side pockets. He hit just above the side pocket, but he did not hit those as well as Fedor would normally hit the balls.
Yeah, he didn't get that pop on the cue ball, so that's something I'm going to be watching for as this match progresses.
So maybe it's been a few games since we got an update from Christina Tkach and, the local player that she's playing against. Aaron, do you have any update for us there?
I'll get that for you in just a second here.
All right, thanks, Aaron. No pressure, no problem. So there's another mistake by Oscar.
Yeah, I'm not saying I was surprised he went for the one ball, but...
Well, he had a big pocket and he hit it in the exact spot. Basically the only spot that he couldn't make the shot on, it seemed like.
Yeah, this shot's all about cue ball control. It needs to land low on the two. Straight's not the end of the world, because he might be able to draw this cue ball back and play the three in the side.
And that's what he's electing to do. And he needs to come, again, below the shot line here, so he's not running into the 4 and the 5. And I think he hit it about as good as you can hit that shot. He's got a little bit of an angle. He'll just slide over, again, trying to stay below as we're looking at this, on the left side of the shot line for the 4 ball. So he's running away from the 5 ball again.
And the updated score is Christina is winning 3-1 against Skippy Nakakis, racing to 9.
For $1,000 on the top table. Looks like he just scratched on the far table too. So Fedor's
having just seen the shot he's played, I don't fancy his chances in that matches, to be fair.
No, I think women pool players, they get a little bit of hassle, a little bit of disrespect, and I think this new generation of women that are coming up, not that the Jeanette Lees and the Allison Fishers and the Karen Kors and Kelly Fishers couldn't compete with the men, but I think the entire field of women now really plays a top quality pool.
Well, I'm glad we've come on to that subject actually, Nate, because last few podcasts I've done and interviews and things, it's a thing I've brought to sort of attention a little bit. I feel like in pool tournaments, I feel like if the women was to be invited into the men's tournaments, I think that would do pool a world of good, and I think that would help the game stand out, because as you've just alluded to, the women can play pool and they can beat some of these guys at pool. There's no two ways about it. And I think if we was to have more mixed events, and then stories are unfolding throughout the media that Christina's beats Shane in the first round, or whoever it may be,
well,
I just think that'd be a real good thing for our game.
Well, that's a really interesting thing. As we see Fedor tie up the match 3-3. So nice run out to Fedor there. But I that begs this question: is the success of the women pool players in these men's events, is that predicated off of them being able to compete with them? Because of course we saw Siming Chen play against Shane Van Boning in the World Pool Masters in the last iteration and almost beat him. I think she was actually up 5-1 in a race to 7. Shane ended up winning on the hill, I believe, or maybe 7-5. But then Kelly Fisher actually had Shane Van Boning down, and was that 6-2 or 6-3, and Shane ended up winning 4 or 5 straight. I know Kelly Fisher got to the hill with about a 3 or 4 game cushion at least. Do you think that your statement is predicated off of the women not only competing with the men but beating them as well?
Yeah, I mean, this is not to be sexist or anything silly like that, but when let's say you're in a tournament and let's just say the World Pool Masters, as you've just said, and the draw's done. If you've drawn, if you're a guy and you've drawn Kelly Fisher, or one of these top Chinese players, you're almost thinking to yourself, oh, I don't want to lose this. I might get a bit of stick off my mates or off my friends. But your friends probably don't even play pool and understand how good these women can play. And I just think it'd be such a good thing. And I know Matchroom, to be fair, I've started to already do this. We've seen it last year in the World Pool Masters. But there is a bunch of lady pool players out there that have probably not even been seen. You talk about the Asian pool players, Yasmin Ocean. These women, they can play this game. And when you're playing race to 7s, 8s, 9s in tournaments, I just think that would really make pool stand out, and it'd be good talking points for when the women are beating some of the men. And yeah, let's get it on. Let's get these. Let's get pool spoken about more often in the media.
Well, yeah, I'll say this. I know that you said some of the Asian ladies. I think there are 40 14-year-old Chinese women that could probably give you the 6 out at this point. It seems like every time we watch one of these Chinese 8-ball events, there's another 13-year-old little Chinese girl that runs out from everywhere. It's crazy the talent they have.
Yeah, and as Fedor just rolls the 10 in there off 2 rails, 4-3. So from 3-0 down, he's got himself well back in this match. Yeah, as you said, World Pool Masters Shane, I think he was 6-2 or 6-3 down to Han Yu, was it, from China?
I think it might have been Han Yu. Yeah, I think he played Kelly Fisher in the first. Was it the first?
Yeah, no, I think he played Han Yu in the first round and won on the hill, and then he played Kelly in the next round.
Okay, that could be. Yeah, that could be.
Yeah, and beat Kelly, but Han Yu, she played real strong to get on the hill, and maybe just one or two little shots. That was all it was, and Shane, luckily for him in that match, his break started to work at the end, and he won the match. But there's a ton of lady players. There you can see Christina in the background. There's a lot of young ladies. Yeah, there's a lot of young ladies who are playing pool as well. So it's not like there's a shortage of them playing. So my vote is get the ladies in the events. That's my vote.
I couldn't agree more. Get them more involved. Women are, if nothing else, even if women aren't quite as marketable as men, if you want to make that argument. I'm not even gonna entertain that argument. But what I will say,
that's steady on there.
well, you hear that a lot in pool, right? You hear that quite a bit. I'm not the one making that argument, but I hear it a lot. And what I would say is the argument of the argument of can women beat the men? There is nothing more entertaining when you see Siming Chen win her first 3 matches at the U.S. Open and finish 1 out of the final 16, which would happen the last event at the U.S. Open, the first year that Matchroom had the event at Mandalay Bay. Siming Chen almost made the final 16. I mean, she absolutely can compete with any of the men that are out there. Han Yu, as we see Fedor make his first mistake in quite a while now, and hang the 6-ball, even worse. These women can absolutely compete. Margaret Pavlova, I still don't think she's missed a ball since COVID shut down.
Listen, you're right. You just touched on something there that I kind of half forgot about. Siming Chen at the US Open. She is an absolute beast on the pool table. There's nothing surer. And I just think as pool, as we're trying to grow and obviously the Salotto guys and Aaron doing this stream, I just think, these things have been going on a long time. Pool's always been at the, let's say, the back end pages of newspapers and things like this. And I just think the women playing against the men in proper professional tournaments, that might just give us just a little bit of a talking point.
I think Joseph said it perfectly in the comments. Women are more marketable if promoted properly. I think that's a perfect way of putting it.
Yeah, I think Joseph is he's probably right. So the match is tied 4-4. A mistake there from Fedor lets Oscar tie this match up and get another rack on the board.
we're seeing Fedor put quite a bit more effort into the rack than I think Oscar does here. Maybe Oscar's found the right breaking spot. I know these pros, they with the break speed that they hit it at, and they're kind of controlling the arc of the cue ball coming into the rack, they have a preferred spot on the spot where they like to put their one ball. It's possible that since this is Oscar's table, he already has that little divot in the spot beaten in, and maybe where Fedor would like to rack the balls, it's not quite a set place, so maybe Fedor has to put a little bit more work into it.
Yeah, and I think, out of the first 8 racks, it's fair to say Oscar looks a little bit more dialed in on the break. He's parked the cue ball a lot more than Fedor, so he seems to be in the break a lot sweeter. But he's got a few issues here on the table.
I think the 2-ball cuts, but this is, from what he had there, I know it seemed like he was trying to just clip off the face of the 2-ball, get his cue ball over to the left enough that he didn't have to try to draw above the 2-ball, but I just don't think the execution of that drawing above the 2-ball is that tough. Certainly not to risk this. Oh, how'd he hit it? Oh, where's the cue ball?
Where's the cue ball?
Oh.
No, that's not actually too bad, because he's moved the 7 away and he's actually got an angle to kind of get over to this dodgy purple 4-ball, so it's not the worst result.
Yeah, it's actually about as good as you could ask for. The 4-ball doesn't go in any pocket. It doesn't have a pocket available, so he is going to have to cannon into these, as you UK folk like to say.
Cannon?
A snooker term.
So how does he hit this? Is it pretty good? Oh, he's come out lovely, to be fair. It's a little thin one, but you'd be more than happy with that leave, so that's a good shot. Guys, I just want to take this moment for you guys watching on this stream just to tell you about my new YouTube channel. You can get me on there. I've just started doing a lot of fun things over there. I'm still learning. I'm learning how to edit and all that. So you can get me on there. It's Cowboys, spelt with a K, Boyes, and stay tuned for some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of your videos. They're not only entertaining, but they are actually quite informative. But I just wish there was somebody else doing them.
Well, to be honest, the videos I'm doing are kind of aimed at your kind of level, Nate, the complete hacker, as I like to call them.
The jerky players. I do want to address something really quickly in the comments. I don't normally address things like this, but I will say, and Carl, maybe you, obviously at this point in time you've had to have met Jennifer Beretta. Jennifer Beretta is literally the sweetest, most genuine, real pool player I've ever met in my entire life, both men and women. She is nowhere close to whatever that person said. Literally, Jennifer Beretta is the nicest human being I've ever met in the pool world. And I'm not even just saying that. She is amazing. She certainly can give the wild 2 out in the breaks to Carl when it comes to being nice.
That's not very nice, pal.
But proper, isn't it?
Probably about right, to be fair. So Oscar with not a bad little run out in the end. He got a little bit fortunate early on in this rack, but he still had to play a couple of good shots, and he's going to take a lead going into our first little ad break. Probably a fair result now, I would say. 5-4 to Dominguez.
Well, I'll say this. I think from Mike Salmon. So I believe, well, he is a Hard Times Billiards guy, so I assume he's in the room for that update, which I think means that Christina Tkach did not get out from that ball in hand in the sixth ball.
There you see, pretty good break again from Oscar. Let the cue ball dive forward a little bit. That's just striking a little bit too high on the cue ball, but he's hitting pretty centre on that 1 ball. He's not losing it to either side of the rail, so that means he's hitting it pretty square on, and he definitely looks the better player on the break so far. Probably played the better pool so far, Nate. Would you agree?
Yeah, well, he's certainly the more mistake-free pool. I'll tell you what. How does this 1-2 look? Just a deep screw trying to get between all of those balls, just to the right of the 5 ball. It looks like.
Did you just say a deep screw?
Well, I've been doing a lot of commentary with Jim Telford. To be fair, as you like to say, to be fair.
Serious question. Would you normally say deep draw, or would you say deep screw?
I would not say deep anything. I would just say a hard draw stroke would be how I would use that one.
My latest video on my YouTube channel is it's for beginners, just like kind of trying to help them screw the ball back. And on my thumbnail, I had to write draw/screw.
Yeah, you did. I bet that tore you apart a little bit on the inside, didn't it?
I'm used to saying draw back now, but when I stopped playing American pool on a Thursday night where I live, pre-COVID, I used to play in a small table snooker league. Now, you're probably not familiar with this, but snooker, well, you'll be familiar with this. Snooker's obviously played on a 12x6, right?
Of course.
Where I live, oh, nice jump shot there from Oscar. I've been
Really
big in Fedor up with a jump cue, but Oscar's obviously very useful with that stick as well. Nice shot and pretty good leave there. Yeah, as I was saying, Nate, snooker's played on a 12x6, but where I live, we have a lot of 9-foot snooker tables. So same size as this table, but it looks like a Chinese 8-ball table, but it's built with a lower rail and because the balls are the same size as snooker. So if I've been away working, doing some commentary, I might come back on a Thursday and start saying, like, draw back to the lads, and they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, it's American term, isn't it? And they're like, forget all that, it's screw back.
I'll say this. Obviously, snooker is doing something right in the world. They have the biggest prize purses. They have the biggest stars. They have the biggest tournaments. Whatever lingo snooker uses, I would say it's probably a decent idea to try to attach yourself as best you can to that. I am not sure why did he go all the... And this... Well, I don't know. I feel like
it's an exhibition. Mate, it's an exhibition. He's playing kind of exhibition shots other than that bank shot.
Well, I hope this costs you some press-ups, pal.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed with that.
Well, I'm feeling okay about it. Come on, Fedor. Oh wait, we're supposed to stay completely unbiased in the commentary, aren't we?
Yeah, he's landed on that funny little 50-yard line. Now, the interesting thing with this is he can't follow through and go off the short rail to come back down for the 10, so...
Oh, we missed another one.
Yeah, right. He just doesn't look himself, really. He's not really settled yet in this match, and again, the missed ball from Fedor is not the worst leave.
I'll say this, Fedor has been missing better than Oscar thus far. He's left Oscar tricky several times. Speaking of which...
Well, he was on the 10.
Yeah, he definitely was pretty good on it, wasn't he?
So another rack where there's been some mistakes, but it's making for interesting view up as Fedor ties the match 5-5.
10 balls been conceded. Here's the question while we wait for him to finish racking the balls. What is the goofiest game you've ever played in this? And by that I mean, I played 8-ball, but 4 or more on the 8-ball. So you had to either kick or bank 4 rails or more on the 8-ball.
To be honest, I don't really feel like I've played goofy games, if that makes sense. I don't know. I've just always... You seem like a goofy guy, though, so that kind of makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, growing up as a kid, the only way that I could play with my friends, of course, because they're all hackers, like, me now. But believe it or not, I played better when I was 8 years old, I guess. The only way that I'd be able to play with all my buds was to create really weird games. So I would have bank every other shot, and you couldn't move on to a new shot until you banked. So if I shot the first ball and play an A ball, if I missed 10 banks in a row, I would have to make the 11th to be able to shoot straight in again. Silly little rules like that. 3 or more on the 8 ball, 4 or more on the 8 ball, last pocket 8 ball, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm familiar with last pocket 8 and things like that. Fedor goes for the bank and misses the bank, so it's not been the highest standard so far.
Quick update on the Christina Skippy match next door. Christina just won her 5th game. She's now up 5-0.
Christina's up 5-3 in a race to 9 for 1,000.
Nate, just going back to like the funky games, something's just hit my brain. I remember going to the US Open when it was in Virginia, and we'd gone to the pool room. It was early on in the event. It could have been first, second, third night, whatever. And we've gone there. And I remember we'd got a table, was having a practice, and the table next to us, there was a guy playing, and after the break, he could take away 4 balls. So obviously, he would take 4 balls, whichever 4 balls he wanted to get rid of, and then after each shot he played, he could basically put his thumb or his hand around the cue ball and then move the cue ball onto any finger.
Wow, that is wow.
Yeah,
you want to talk about funky games right there?
Yeah, I was like, is this what's going on over here?
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I was like new to traveling, and here I am in America at the US Open. I'm seeing a guy do this. I'm like, what's going on here? Like,
that seems like a game where Ito Gomez would be like an expert at.
Yeah, that game would be no good for me because I've got small hands.
Oh.
Trying to spread my fingers, right? Bend them as much as I can.
The best you can do is 2 inches away from any cue ball, huh?
Yeah.
That's a fun one.
So he had no choice but to leave this pretty long. So this is a little tester for Oscar. Kind of got to have always, you expect him to make it, but you've still got to cue this ball nice.
I think I like letting the stroke out here. I think I like getting back for the 9 ball to the side personally, whether it's forward 3 rails or whether it's straight back, and he missed the shot.
Yeah, no,
I like coming back. I think better though.
Yeah, it's just that type of shot where if you're not playing a lot of pool, or you've got a slight bit of doubt in your mind, you're gonna miss that ball.
That's a pretty fun game style here. Brandon Brown said, weirdest game I've played, jump 9 ball, use 2 cue balls, placing second cue ball between every shot and run them in order. I would love that game. I play such bad position. I jump 50% of my shots anyways.
Yeah, that sounds pretty gnarly. So Fedor takes the lead, and is that a big moment in this match? And you can see Christina in the background.
Running out. Looks like she's pretty safe over there, although she gets a little bit funny, doesn't she? She's going to have to take a little bit longer of an 8 ball now. She'll have to stay below the side pocket. Shouldn't be an issue for her, though, as good as she cues the balls. And maybe we can stay at this view for just a little bit longer, so we can at least see the 8 ball for Christina. Well, she looks to be the favorite from there. I think she's got a chance to run that one.
Yeah, she's near the rail as we see Fedor's break.
4 ball down to the side.
Yeah, loses the cue ball a little bit, but it was okay. He popped it past the middle pockets.
As Christina gets 1 closer to the hill. I believe that gets her on the hill of the hill.
She's at
The
6
hill
to
of the
3.
hill.
6 to 3.
6-3. Okay, so she's on the hill of the hill of the hill.
That's not confusing at all.
A little silly to say maybe out loud.
Oh, that was a nice shot there. That was a pretty good shot there from Fedor. Jacked up, drawing into the 3-ball there to hold shape.
Just come off the rail slightly for about 6 inches for the 3 into the top left. Oh, he hung that 2-ball. You see, he kind of twisted his cue. I mean, I think that's just pretty lazy pool on his part there. I think, of course, it's exhibition, so this is basically just a show for all you people at home.
Well, in the break, Fedor messaged me on Instagram. He just said, there's a lot of people here watching, pal. So I've just done what I would do, and I've just sent him a picture of that 2-ball he missed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've just left it at that. I've not even said hello.
He's actually reading that text right now.
Oh, that's good. So, Aaron, can you tell us like his facial expression?
Yeah, I think I'm going to send it to him too, just to really let it sink in on him.
He's replying to you right now, Carl.
Oh,
So
that's
he's
fun.
typing back.
Well, let's hope he misses a few more.
I made sure to send him that 2-ball, and I told him, tough shot, don't let it bother you, pal. Of course, Fedor is one of the realest people out there in the game. He's really a great kid, great ambassador for the game. He's always humble, always respectful, always does the right thing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Nate. He was a pleasure to work with at the Moscone. I wasn't too familiar with, with Fedor, kind of previous to him getting in the Moscone Cup as a person, being up close to him. But such a nice guy, like I said earlier on, he's got a wise head on a young man's shoulders, and
that's what I was going to say. Wise beyond his years.
Yep.
Which seems to be the case with a lot of the young Europeans that are coming up through the ranks. Not all of them, I should add, but some of them.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Oscar needs this to travel, and it's travelled lovely. That's a nice exhibition shot there from Dominguez. 6-6. I think this is going hill. And you just know. It's like 7 a.m. I got up at 4:30 a.m. You just know this is going hill, right?
Well, they got to make it worth it for you to wake up this early.
Yeah, and then as soon as this match is done, I'm going to have like 2 kids bouncing on my head.
Well, the question becomes, when was the last time you remember waking up at 6 a.m. for anything in life?
To be honest, I'm not your typical pool player where, I'm in the pool room all night and sleeping through the day. Obviously, I've got 2 young children, so I am up pretty early, even though we're on lockdown in the UK and the children are not at school. So normally I would be up at, 7:30. But listen, it is what it is. I've not watched much pool recently because of COVID, so I'm pretty, I'm enjoying this night. And even with yourself in the booth, it's not the worst thing I've ever done.
So what you're telling me is you'll put in a good word with Emily, and I'll be commentating the Moscone Cup next year.
Listen, there's one rule you follow, and that is don't suggest anything to Emily. Just nod your head and say, yes, boss.
Didn't you get a vice captaincy from basically lobbying for weeks?
Yeah, the cheek. I wanted the captaincy role, and they give me the vice.
So is that a big downgrade, or are you okay with that?
No, I'm more than happy with that. To be quite honest, I've been completely lost as captain.
I'll tell you what. I of course I wouldn't say that we're like big pals or anything, but I would say we know each other at least in passing over the last few years. And I would say the same about Alex Laley. Alex Laley, from everything that I've gotten from him, he is one of the most eyes on the prize, big picture visionary that this game needs, and that guy is smart as it comes.
Yeah, listen, you say that about Alex. Previous to us, dealing with the team, obviously Alex used to play on the circuit, years ago. Very, very accomplished player. He's won the World Pool Masters. He's a big action man as well. He loves, even now, he back home he'll play one pocket with people for days, and he just loves it. He commentates on the World Snooker Tour for Eurosport. He's not behind the ears, put it that way, when it comes to Q Sports, and we had a lot of fun, and he's a great guy, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's everything that I've experienced with him, being in his presence and chatting to him. He's like he's about borderline genius as they come for pool players, which is saying something when we have representatives like you, huh?
That is very, very harsh.
Yeah, I apologize. I shouldn't have said that.
But I'll take it like a man.
I gave you a nice couple of compliments earlier, so I feel like I gotta bring you back down a little.
Yeah, you're just leveling it up, aren't you?
Yeah. So back to the action. I think this is going to be the third jump shot we've seen this match. This rack here.
Well, if that's how you jump the cue ball, that is why your Fargo rate is real low.
Well, I honestly thought I saw him walk over to grab his jump.
He's like queuing off a rail, and you're talking about jump shots. That's funny.
I honestly thought he walked. I honestly thought I saw him walk over to grab his jump cue for that. I thought he had a half ball hook or something.
It could have been worse. You could have had a co-commentator that threw you under the bus.
Cheers, pal.
So Oscar makes the 10, as we've already alluded to in this match. It will spot up, and he stays at the table.
Did he call that, or is Fedor giving this back to him?
No, I don't think they're playing call 10. I think if they just make it, they just spot it and carry on. Maybe we can get some clarification on that.
This is pretty good. It looks like he's not selling on any piece of the one ball. That's pretty good. And the 10 ball might even be in the kicking lane.
Yeah, Nate, I want to ask you a question. Obviously, you're American. You're involved in the industry. With me being from England, now, when I played pool, I always played in tournaments where it was all aimed at getting in the matchroom sport events, right? So I wasn't like one of these typical guys where it was like hustling and playing cash games in shorts and flip-flops, that type of guy. So you're talking about funky games and things like that, but do you think, I'm not saying don't play cash games and match up, because I do think there's a place for that, because I look at it like a little bit like a boxing match. But do you think there needs to be something within the game where it's not constantly talked about, whether it's like arranging the match or in the commentary, where we're constantly going on about the rules, like we've just said, did he call the 10, did he not, what they're doing? Do you think it can get a little bit lost?
Well, I think anybody who's been around this game for more than 5 minutes would realize how constantly confusing this is. With, especially with 9-ball. I mean, of course, at this point in the game, 9-ball is the game that we play. It's at least the most marketable game. Matchroom wouldn't be having all their events 9-ball if that wasn't the case. And let's just have a discussion here. If Carl, you and I are going to play a big set, right? We're going to get past the gambling. We're going to get past the how much we have in the middle. We're going to get past the spot, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to get down to the actual game of 9-ball. What are we going to be debating? Are we going to be debating breaking from the box, 9 on the spot, 9 on the spot, 1 ball on the spot? We're going to be debating, can you break from the box? Do you not break from the box? Are we playing the 3-point rule? Are we playing early 9 balls? Are we playing? Ooh, that was thanks. That was a tough one for Oscar. We're playing, does the early 9-ball count? Or we're playing, are there slop shots? Are we playing? There's so many discussions that you have before you even get to the table. And then we start, and that's just like the actual rules themselves. Then we start talking about, are we playing on new felt? Are we playing on 4 1/4 inch pockets? Are we playing on 4 1/2 inch pockets? There's so much that goes into just making a single gambling match happen. And if you talk to anybody who's behind the scenes, the big backers, even the players to it, they'll tell you the discussions don't fail from the players matching up. The discussions for these big action matchups fail from not being able to agree upon a common set of rules. And I know what you
go
mean.
Ahead. It's just, I know where you're going with that, and listen, as every pool player's played, cash games and different rules and stuff. I just feel like is there too much of it going on? If you're saying before, share the stream. If somebody's decided to, tune in tonight and watch this match, as commentators, should we just, I don't know, try and... The reason why I'm going on about this is because now I do the commentary for Matchroom. Before I started doing commentary, I'd never done commentary, so I thought, okay, right, there's an opportunity here. Emily, she's given me a chance in the box, and Phil Yates was a big part of that. He kind of liked what I was doing in the box. But the reason why my role coming into the commentary box and what I decided to do is I decided that when I'm commentating on the World Pool Masters, the World Cup of Pool, the Moscone, any Matchroom event I worked on, I felt like I was going to speak to the person who may be watching that doesn't play pool. So to explain that a little bit better, if Jeremy Jones is in the comms box, I feel like he's speaking to the pool player.
I agree with that.
But I'm trying not to speak to the pool player. I'm trying to even if somebody plays a weird shot, I'm trying to not go too technical on it and just, try and just talk to the person that isn't the pool player. And that's what I'm getting at with these cash games. We can, are we breaking from here? What are we doing with this? Does it just get that little bit messy?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I get to, as being, I would say, a small industry voice at this point, I would say that I'm a little privy to a lot of the discussions that happen on these events. And for anybody who's ever been completely plugged into them, you'll know that the discussions that happen in these events, they don't happen in a day's time. They happen over the course of weeks, sometimes months, sometimes as many as years. Some of these take that long to actually come to happen. And it's because of these tiny little things where I've heard of matches not happening because they couldn't agree between 4.25 and 4.5 inch pockets. And that has derailed an entire match from happening. And so I guess to get your broader point, Carl, it gets a little, it's kind of like death by a thousand paper cuts, maybe. In one little instance, it might not be that big of a deal where we have these little things, but if you add them all up, it does get a little overwhelming, especially to the viewer, like you're saying, that maybe they only watch pool once a year, and it's the Moscone Cup. It's nice to have a simplistic look at the game. Maybe for the players that are tuning into 1 to 2, maybe 3, 4, 5 streams a week, they can handle the level of complexities that go into it. But there is a nice sense of simplicity that happens from that.
Yeah, and also the other thing is I know obviously out and out pool fans might like the long races and things like that, but I don't know, these race to hundreds that you see over 3 days, I just think you're not going to get somebody who is new to pool, tuning in to watch a race to 100. Let's be honest.
No, I don't think so. And I think that's a lot of. I know that I think that you've tuned into a couple of the streams that I've done. I'm sure you don't hang around too often, but I'm sure you've been around for a little while, maybe. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I won't lie. Nothing against yourself or online pool. It's just I've not really took to it. Listen, it's great that there's pool and something to watch, and it's not a bad thing when there's pool on streams to watch, just like this matchup. So it's only a plus point. It's just on a personal note. It's not something I would tune in. I like to see what we're seeing now, where the match swings and there's a little bit of something going on at the table, and you get to feel when a person's struggling when you're at the table with them, right? As where these remote matches, it all feels a little bit too relaxed and a little bit too easy. So I've not dived into it too much.
Well, here, I'll tell you this off the record. Don't tell anybody I said this. I don't like watching virtual pool either. I think it sucks playing against the ghost, but it's the best of a bad situation. I love pool 100%. So much. Yeah, I love 100%. Pool so much that I would rather watch virtual pool against the ghost than not watch pool at all. And that's basically what Jim and I decided to do is instead of just accepting that we can't watch pool for the next 6 months, we're like, well, ghost pool is better than nothing. Let's watch it.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
It's out there and it's giving, the professionals a chance to still nick a bit of money and look after the sponsors and things like that. And, it kind of is what it is. But when Jim Telfer's getting to semi-finals in fields like that, I think it tells a story.
I'll tell you what, Jim Telfer was playing himself some good pool.
No, he's all right, to be fair. I'm ripping him.
Yeah,
I always just thought he was one of them European drunks at the Moscone. I didn't even know he owned a pool cue, to be fair.
Well, those things aren't mutually exclusive. You can be a European drunk.
I have an update here on the Skip and Christina match. Skip just won the last game. It's now 4-6. Christina's still winning.
And at the table, it looks like.
And at the table.
So back to this matchup. As you can see, Fedor's opened up a 2-rack lead.
Yeah. Not that I'm not trying to drag us back to the conversation we had there, but I was getting to a broader point where I think there is quite a bit of pressure on the commentary, and I think this is part of the reason pool lacks a little bit when it comes to virtual pool. Is it's just not quite maybe as entertaining. So what Jim and I try to do is we try to have a little friendly banter, kind of like what we're doing here. Of course, we're talking about the match a little bit here and there, but we're not boring you down with just facts in the match. We have a little bit of fun. We try to create an atmosphere that you want to hang around for. Some people like it, some people don't. Of course, you're never going to make everybody happy, but I think there's some commentators that could be a little bit more entertaining with what they do.
Yeah, and you've got the finals is today. Am I right in saying?
I guess because it's past midnight. Yeah, we have the finals today between Konrad Shishkin versus Ivan Maluto.
Ivan Maluto, where is he from? That's not a name.
Exactly, right? He is from the Philippines. I never heard of him either. I'll tell you, here's a run that he went through. He beat Albin Ocean in straight sets, and then he beat Miensko Fortunsky, our overall number 1 seed, and then he beat Naoki Oi yesterday, I should say, since it's past midnight. The guy is on a run.
I was sold when you said the Philippines, pal.
Yeah, that's all you need to know, right?
Yeah, that's all I needed to know.
Good enough. I heard well, go ahead.
I was just going to say 9-6 Fedor in this match. He's broke away a little lead now, and I think this could be the end for Oscar. I just get that feeling.
Well, my bet is still alive, so I don't feel good about it, but I'm not hating my action from here. But let me ask you. Well, I guess there's a question out there in the comments, and I think this is a perfect one for you because you're significantly more plugged into the world of pool as a whole than I am. When will we have a truly accurate world number 1 ranking when full schedule pool comes back? And I think the heart of that question is basically, I think there's a lot of players who have taken a lot of time off who are close to the top. I think Eklanti Kachi jumps to mind right away.
Right. Let me just put in. I want to start that off by saying we have never had a genuine world ranking. The world rankings are a complete farce. So you can, somebody can say, "Oh, I'm world number 1," and 2 weeks later, somebody else is world number 1, and you might not be. You might not be world number 1 again for 4 years. It's just you can't have a world ranking and play 2-3 events a year. I mean, it's just nonsense. So, and to be honest, I think that's why you don't really see the players, harp on about it. It's not really, thought of as a big deal really. But it is a shame. I think the only way you can get a world ranking system in place and a genuine one is if we have a similar model to World Snooker where we have a tour, and you're on the tour, and after a season of so many events, you drop off the tour and you go to a Q school.
Yep, exactly. It's the same way golf does it as well. You got to win events to be able at the top. And as respectfully as I could possibly say this, the reason I bring up Eglanti Kachi in that is Eglanti Kachi was the world number one for a solid 2 months. And nobody in the world, probably, I mean, including Eglanti, if you hooked him up to a lie detector, would ever say that he's probably, at the time he was, even a top 5 player in the world.
Yeah, I mean, Nate, to be fair, you could say, like when at the start of this match, Fedor, world rank number 4. I don't even take any notice of the world rankings. Who's world number 1 right now? Is it Filler? I don't even have a clue.
Okay.
It's keeping me awake. It's 7:30 a.m. here in rainy Blackpool.
Well, my captain Dakota's keeping me awake.
I know it's night time, but what is the weather like in Los Angeles this time of the year? I know it's known for being sunny most of the time, right?
What the hell are you asking me for? I live in Wisconsin. It's snowy. It snowed 12 inches of snow in the last 3 days.
to be honest, when I said the question, I thought actually he's probably not even in LA. If anybody's in LA watching this stream, can you just please let me know what the weather's like?
The answer to all of your questions when it comes to LA, it's 85 and sunny. That's your answer to everything.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Everybody's jealous of LA weather. Everybody is. But Wisconsin's great this time of year. It was, I think it was -8 degrees today. So that's, I believe, about -15 or 16 degrees. Do you use Fahrenheit or Celsius?
Either, really.
Yeah, well, I guess it was about -7 degrees Fahrenheit here today. It was pretty cold. Oh, wow. I did tell Fedor that we had a bet for push-ups, and I'm pretty sure that was him dogging me is what happened there. 2-7 looks pretty close to wired. All right, well, Carl, I need you to hurry up and chug your coffee so that we can get you really fired up to talk about our world rankings again.
Listen, I'm good to go, pal. Let's go.
All right. Well, you wanted to dog on the world rankings. Let's hear it.
No, all I want to say is if you're one of the leading pool players in the world and you are number 1 or have been ranked number 1 and you're going around saying you're number 1 and believing it, then you're nothing short of an idiot. At the end of the day, we need a proper world tour. We need consistent events, the same rules. We need a standardized table so all the professionals can, get that table and play on the same equipment.
What a shot. He's
Isn't
not going to get paid out of it. He's not going to get paid, but what a shot.
Yeah, as I was saying, Nate. Yeah, and until then, unfortunately, I don't believe we have, a true world number 1. Although somebody in the comments says Little Co is number 1, and he could genuinely be the number 1 if we had a proper ranking. So
I'll tell you what, I think at this point in time we got to stop saying Little Co, and I think we got to start saying Middle Co, because of course there are 3 Co brothers. Not everybody knows this, but there are 3 Co brothers, and the youngest one, I mean, I would say that I would venture to say that he is very, very close to his older brothers at this point. He's not quite on that level, but he's not. I mean, he's playing professional speed. The kid is really great.
Well, he's not got the worst 2 teachers to have, has he? Let's be honest.
No, he's got a couple okay practice partners. So, of course, Little Co has been the way that we've described the Co brothers, the Big Co and Little Co, for quite a while now. But I think at some point in time soon, we gotta start giving some respect to that Koping Han is his name.
Well, Ko Ping Yi, actually, no one might know this, but he's actually my favourite player.
Really?
Yeah, I love watching him play. I think the way he hits the cue ball, he's not one of these types of players that, because his cue ball's very good, he never seems to have to hit the cue ball very hard as well. A lot of pool players you watch, they seem to now again have to put a big stroke on the cue ball because they've not got the desired position. But when you watch Ko Ping Yi, everything just seems to be the perfect angle, the perfect line.
I'm a little disappointed. I always thought that I was your favorite player, but I guess
You're my favourite hacker player, but
I'll
he's
take
my
that.
favourite. He's my favourite player.
I'll take that. Yeah. As long as I know I'm ahead of Joey Ryan, I'm good.
Oh boy, I stitched him up. If nobody's watched that podcast I did,
Oh, you just
Joe-
ripped him apart.
oh, I set him up. He was doing the podcast,
You
and he had
just
the
killed him.
table. He had the table behind him, and I said, "Listen, I can't take this podcast serious until you make that 2-ball." I knew he would miss that 2-ball.
On his 17th attempt, he got it though.
Oh, it was funny.
I think at 9 different times in that podcast he says I'm a 700 level player. Trust me, I can play. And then he'd go up to the table and dog another ball. And he can play. He's a really, really good player. But every time he went up to the table in front of you, he just dogged his brains out. Oh, I laughed for so long watching that. It was such a blast to watch that one.
We are getting ready to spin the wheel. We're giving away a Salotto prize package and a 1-month Salotto Pro membership. It is not too late to get your entries in this drawing. You're not going to want to miss it. You can donate through Cash App, Venmo, Facebook Pay, and PayPal.
Spin the wheel.
And on the table next door, it looks like Christina is now on the hill with 8.
He's got one of the wing balls down. He's got the 5 ball down this time. 3 ball's going to fluke in. And he's going to have a shot on the 1.
And this is what you expect. He's opened up, a big lead now in the match. He's a lot more comfortable, and that brings perfect cue ball control. And he parked the rock in the middle of the table.
Yes, I will say that this game is a lot easier to play when there is very little pressure on you. And it's not really not much that Oscar's done here. Oscar's had a couple opportunities to make some hero shots, but he hasn't been able to make them. And Fedor's just taking advantage of what he's had available to him. Ooh, just barely sneaks by that 8 ball there. So let's get you in some trouble with Emily. The match room is coming out with their own world rankings. What do you think about those?
That's news to me. You elaborate.
Oh, really?
No, I mean, at the end of the day, I do commentary for Matchroom Sport, but I'm not at Matchroom HQ in their meetings, so they have a lot of, I'm one of these guys like the rest of yous where I find out at the same time as everybody else, believe it or not. But what I will say is there ain't no better company than Matchroom Sport to be getting involved with our game of pool. It's as simple as that. Obviously, American pool fans and people over there might not be as familiar with Matchroom Sport as I am, not just in pool terms, but they run so many sports in our country. And listen, it's not easy running pool events. I know we have a bit of fun when we slate in WPA and the world rankings and all these things, but Matchroom have a pot of gold is probably the best way to describe it. They have the fingers in many different pies. They have Anthony Joshua on the books. They're involved in boxing, which you probably know as well because they're in America now doing the boxing, and they run the world. Yeah, they run the World Snooker Tour. They run the PDC, the big darts tour, which the money in darts is phenomenal. Obviously, darts is not very big in America, is it? So.
Your cousin's a professional, like on the tour for darts, right?
Yeah, he's like ranked number 16 in the world on the darts tour. Not that it's about money, but because we're talking about pool and things like that, he makes over six figures every year, and he's ranked number 16 on the tour. He does really well out of darts.
Well, there's about 3 players in the world that make over 6 figures a year. That's pretty good.
Well, I mean, like the number one player on the darts tour is making $1 million a year.
That's crazy.
But the thing with darts is, I play a bit of darts for fun. I love the darts. Obviously, my cousin's a pro, so I follow that. And what Matchroom have done with darts is nothing short of astonishing. Where I live, obviously, we had the 2014 Moscone Cup in my hometown, which was amazing. But we also have the second biggest, other than the World Darts Championships, which is at Ali Pali, where the Moscone Cup now is, pre-COVID. The second biggest darts tournament on the calendar is in my hometown, and it's in July, which is the summer here in England. And this darts tournament goes on for 12 days, and there's 4,000 fans every single session, every day.
I'll tell you this. I could fly a kite before I would watch darts, but I'll tell you this. There is nothing that gets me pumped up faster than hearing whoever that commentator is screaming 180 like that
in the deep voice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing that gets me pumped up faster.
Listen, I
shouldn't say that, but I gotta jump in, Carl. There's only one thing that actually gets me pumped up faster, and it's gonna be watching you do 10 push-ups in a day's time.
No, that's a hanger. Don't worry about that. But listen, if you was in England and you went to a darts tournament, you would be gobsmacked at what's going on. You would think, wow, this is the best night of my life.
Yeah, well, I'm not doubting that.
But this is what I'm getting at. Matchroom are involved, and the other thing is the promoters. They're not like ex-pool players or pool room owners. Their job is to promote, and in my opinion, if they want to promote more pool tournaments, then crack on.
Well, they're currently at least as a world at the world level, Matchroom is pool's best opportunity at anything. I don't think you're going to get anybody arguing against that.
Yeah, and just quickly going back to this match, it's been a funny turn of events, hasn't it? All of a sudden, Fedor's just kind of gone on one, and he's broke out into a huge lead, and he's ever near that winning scoreline of 15. So,
if I'm not mistaken, I think Oscar was up 6-5, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was. I think you're right, pal.
So I think that's 8 straight.
Let's not get too giddy. This is an exhibition match, so
of course
we can be excused for saying maybe the guys are not playing too defensive and serious, and trying to put on a little bit of a show. So that has to be said.
Which they are. I would say that for a free stream, let's actually just take a second here. Let's talk about the great work that Aaron Taylor has done with Aaron's Pool Parlor. I mean, how great are these camera views at this point? Aren't they great?
Yeah, Aaron's a very nice guy. I've had the pleasure of speaking to him a few times. Loves the game of pool, doing good things, for pool. Any stream, even your stream with your ghost matches night, is only beneficial for pool, and it gets pool out there. So, fair play to Aaron and the guys at Salotto. If you have not downloaded the app, download it now, guys. Come on, do your bit for pool and the guys at Salotto. Big things coming, and get yourself on the ranking. Don't be bottom of the rankings.
Don't be a Carl.
Come on, pal. I was never the bottom. I might never have been at the top, but I wasn't at the bottom.
All in good fun. But seriously, I got to echo that. I mean, Aaron Taylor, he started this page maybe 2 months ago, and from what he's done, I'm telling you what, I had the first conversation we had is how to download the OBS app, which is what he's using to stream this event with. And from the conversation we had on how to download something to what he's running right now, it's just silly, the amount of knowledge that he's acquired, the amount of equipment he's acquired. everything that he's done in this game is just absolutely crazy. The growth that he's had in the last few months. Please just give a. I mean, there's 300 people here. He's only got about 700 people coming in today that have liked and followed his page. If you're out there watching this and you appreciate what he's doing for the game and the show he's putting on for you guys for free, just the simplest thing, just like and follow the page. It's the easiest thing that you can do.
Yeah, and while you're there, give my YouTube channel a follow as well. Come on.
And while you're there,
Cue it up as well. It's turning into a begging match, this, isn't it?
something. Oh, it's a little. Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, Oscar just cannot get back in line here.
Yeah, it all started to go wrong where he hooked himself and he played a good jump shot and then just didn't quite get the spin on this.
Is he going to play this off the 9, it looks like, maybe? No, he's just playing a safe.
Yeah, he's just ducking, so...
That's a good shot, I mean...
Yeah, he's left an edge, but there's not really much he can do. Fedor may as well have a swipe at this in the bottom left, to be honest.
Yeah, I was going to say, Oscar kind of has him in a spot now where he's got him up against the wall. There's no safety to be played, really. I mean, there's no good safety. So, I mean, you almost... I always teach this when I teach the game to my students. It's like, don't put a pit bull in the corner if you're not willing to face what the wrath of it is. And sometimes that's the case with a player like Fedor. Sometimes when you hit him that good, you're forcing him into making a shot. That's not always the best option, but it worked out well here. Or I should say it worked out. He didn't make it and run out.
Just a real quick update. Skippy has come back, and he's now trailing one game. It's 7-8, racing to 9 for 1,000. So
Skippy stalling in that match.
Double the bet.
Nate, I took one thing out of your little 2-minute speech there. You have students.
Not well. Listen here, buddy. I might not be the smartest guy in the room, but I sure am the dumbest.
So he's playing a one-rail kick. I've got a lovely video on my channel about one-rail kicks. Oscar, you should have watched my video. You'd have made that.
I do, though. I try to teach the game a little bit as much as I can.
I'm just ribbing you, Nate. I'm just ribbing you, pal. Relax.
I'm going to cry. You're going to make me cry.
One thing's for certain. Oscar won't be missing this one-rail kick. Fedor.
Well, I know it's going to be tough because he's sitting on his butt.
Yeah, I meant Fedor. Oh, he's landed a little bit funny there, hasn't he? Just not quite gone enough. So this is a thin one.
I think if you actually go back to the very first rack, he had a shot very similar to this that he missed. And he missed this one as well. But he's going to fluke a safe, as it looks like, maybe? I think he did.
Wow, I mean, I'm destined for press-ups if he's not left that.
And I had to, of course, send Fedor a message telling him about our bet, so...
I'm going to message him now. I'm going to message him now saying if you don't lose another 2 racks, you won't be seen this year at the Moscone.
Say goodbye to your wild cards, huh?
No, jokes aside, I hope to God the Moscone Cup in Vegas in December has got full capacity crowd, and I hope Fedor makes the team again because I want that kid to experience what any Moscone Cup player should experience, and that is the noise of 3,000 drunk pool fans, because there's no feeling like it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to be doing my part. I am actually ordering 40 tickets for that event. And
You've
we're
got
gonna
40 friends?
No, but I do have 40 listeners to my podcast. They don't like me, but they listen.
So they're playing call shot because I've just seen Oscar point to the side pocket. So he's playing this 7 in the side, but he's just waiting for the other table to get out of the way. They're obviously playing a match-up.
I don't. Well, I mean, if this is an exhibition shot, I don't think you take this shot on if you drilled it. Oh no!
Yeah, it was a great hit, to be fair, and it wasn't far away, was it?
We got Ryan Harmson out there. Cue it up, Moscone bound. He's one of those 40 tickets. He's one of those 40 tickets.
Is he one of your students?
No, he's not. Well, no, he lives kind of close to me. He's about 3 hours away from me. He's been a promoter, or he's been a listener of the podcast for quite a while.
And just as Fedor gets on the hill, Skippy also gets on the hill. That match is tied pace game 8-8.
Back it and jacket. Back it and jacket. Are they playing it, Aaron?
Are they what?
They are playing it. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to see them back it and jacket and start over. If anybody's not familiar with that, back out of the set and jack the bet is what that means, back it and jacket. So basically you double the bet and you start over.
Obviously, we're getting this great camera angle here from of Aaron of the pool room. I think, I want to say it was about 2000, it was over 10 years ago when I was at this pool room. And I don't recall that kind of layout.
Oh, ooh. Almost scratched into the side pocket. It turns out he's going to get really fortunate out of it. I think he's going to have a shot on the one ball.
It's been almost the exact same layout since the first time I came here in 1989.
Yeah, so on that
Exactly the same.
on that camera angle there,
Yeah,
the bar's not in that room, right?
correct. Yeah, we're in the back.
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah.
I think there's about 20 tables in the front. We're here in the back with the stadium seating.
I think that's a real question to be asked. And it's a Justin Espinosa as well. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's the Justin Espinosa, right? I mean, that guy's an absolute monster pool player as well. He asks, "Did you keep the Tiger?"
I have actually still got the Tiger. And listen, how that Tiger made it home with me is nothing short of a miracle. But it is actually, I think it's just in my son's bedroom. He just runs around the house with it. So,
Well, I'm sure.
I mean, that was funny. That, to be fair.
I'm sure Joy would appreciate the disrespect that you have by giving the Tiger to your son.
To be fair, after it had finished, I did say to him, "You can take the Tiger if you want, pal," and he just sort of laughed, and it was all good fun that night. We stood and had a drink for a few hours and had a good laugh. It's like a UFC or a boxing match, isn't it? Before you go to battle, you've got to get them jibes in.
Yeah, you gotta have. Well, I mean, that's part of the excitement of the Moscone Cup is you got to have the side stories. You got to have the snakes in the grass comments, and you got to have the I work out at the gym, whatever that storyline was. And you got to have the Albin Ocean saying, "What is Team USA lacking?" You got to have stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good fun. And
as a side note, I still cannot believe, as we're seeing the match 10 ball here, I still cannot believe Albin Ocean said that.
Listen, Nate, can we get the camera on Christina's match? I mean, things are just hotting up. This match is over, folks, and that's gone super, super quick from 6-5.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching us here on our YouTube channel for Aaron's Pool Parlor. We hope you've enjoyed what you've seen, and we'll be back soon with more great videos for you to enjoy. Until next time, thanks for joining us.